marketing pulpit is about is strategy. Use social media and stop letting it use you. That's one thing about a business. It's an equalizer. It's a game changer. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks acting the fool, got to talk about it. And one of the things you want to do as a business owner is to create barriers of entry. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more, they should be given more flexible work hours. We have to think like the successful companies. Welcome to another Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, we're saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I save a soul along the way, hey, don't hold that against me. Hey, my dad was a preacher, so just call it icing on the cake. The mission here is to build strong businesses in our community so we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. Can't overlook that service. Man, you got to give. You got to commit yourself. You got to serve. Got to serve. Welcome again to the show. As I said, I'm Robert Gatewood, the host. I'm been at this now for going on 12 years. We started over at Radio 1, thanks to Miss Kathy Hughes over there at the flagship station over there in Silver Spring, Maryland. And we have expanded our reach now to include streaming live on social media platforms such as LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and so we're out there. Of course, Facebook, and just glad to be able to join you on another Friday. I'm Robert Gatewood. My company, Gatewood Marketing and Web, we specialize in marketing and business development and social media design, logo, branding, and all that good stuff. And so part of my mission, my raison d'etre, is to make sure this information gets into as many hands as possible, because some things are so vital that not being able to afford it is not a good enough excuse. So we have taken that off the table. So we're bringing this information every Friday right here on the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm also an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College, where I teach marketing, branding, social media, networking, and sales. I've also written a couple of books, Played in Full and Smarter Than the Boss. I'm also a small business consultant for the Small Business Administration, where I help companies in the 8A program. So we actually, this is what I do. This is my cause célèbre. Got a great show lined up today. We got so much going on. We're coming towards the end of the year. We want to close it out on time and make sure we get things in your ear hole that you need to get ready for 2022. Later in the show, I'm going to talk about why Santa Claus may be dropping a lump of coal in your stocking this year if you're not doing these things. So that's going to be later in the show. We also got a great show lined up today. We got some very talented people from the, we're going to talk about COVID-19 and some of the things that are going on in that sphere. As a matter of fact, we're going to bring in some special guests today. We're going to do a special segment on COVID-19, its Omicron variant, and some of the things that are going on and how to protect yourself. We're going to have Ms. Tina Caraway from the Caraway Foundation, Ms. Cynthia Wallace from the New Rural Project, Mr. Saeen Jasmine from Black Voters Matter, Melissa Funderburg from NC Counts, and of course, Leon Gatewood from Holla. Leon is shaking things up out there. I'm glad he was able to put together this group of fine people to come to us today to kind of help us go into 2022 safe from this variant, and this variant is not taking any prisoners. So that's what we got lined up for today. We're going to talk about you business owners, you want to tune in, particularly if you got old Santa Claus. You look at old Santa Claus waiting on him to bring you some goodies. But have you been nice? Or have you been naughty? And good morning, Brother Brown, to the greatest plumber in town. Good morning, Laura, tuning in from all these different places. And if you want to join the conversation today, of course, just put your messages in the feed, and we will engage you as the show progresses. I did want to ask you a question today, because let me ask you this. Are you guilty of throwing out the baby with the bathwater? Now, you don't want to throw a baby away for any reason, but sometimes that's an old parable when they say you're throwing out the good along with the bad. Now, and I'm going to say this now because as we get towards the end of the year and we get into this cleaning mode, we want to get everything, get rid of the old and bring in the new. I want to say slow down for a minute and just make sure that we're not throwing away babies with bathwater. And that's a strange saying, though, isn't it? What am I trying to say here? Well, let's put it this way. Whether you know it or not, we are in an age where content is king. It matters. And so on some of those old computers, on some of those old phones, on some of those old hard drives, you may be sitting on a gold mine and don't even realize it. You're sitting there with some old videos, some old writings, some white papers, manuscripts, things that you've written. And you say, man, these things, I've had it this long and it might as well get rid of it. Well, I'm telling you to slow down for a minute because you may be sitting on something that could be very, very valuable and you won't realize it until it's gone. So I want you to do this today. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Now, of course, like me, like so many people, I don't like clutter. I like to get stuff out of the way to make room for the new. But boy, I'm telling you, so many good ideas. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be really upset when you realize that you threw away something that was so valuable. And so I wanted you to do this. Go back through that. I know. You want to clean everything out. But before you do, take the time this weekend. You might want to go ahead and get you a Dropbox, a free Dropbox, and take some of those old files, slide them over in the Dropbox. It's a free account. You get a lot of space for free. You might even you can buy these little apps and software. I think there's something called Picture Keeper Connect that you can plug into your phone. It'll back up all your photos and all your videos onto a safe place so you don't have to throw them away trying to make room on your phone for the next set of videos. And, take a little time this weekend and go ahead and instead of just rushing and getting rid of all this good content, I'm saying this because I'm a content guy. And I'm saying this probably I'm speaking from experience because I've thrown away some good stuff. And I don't want that to happen to you. I know. We got to make room for the new. But I'm telling you, some of this content you're sitting on, it gets better with age. So don't throw out that baby with the bathwater. Go ahead and put that content aside. And I'm telling you, you're going to save yourself some frustration if you throw out some good content you found that you could have hung on to that has some value. Now, we're going to talk about some items in the news coming up later on. But also, before we get to that, I want to talk about why Santa Claus, that old guy in the red suit, why he might be bringing you a lump of coal this year instead of that gift you were looking for. And why am I saying that? Because I've been preaching this good marketing gospel all year, like I have been for the last 12 years, and some of you guys aren't taking heed. Now you might be saying, who the heck are you? Let's be taking heed to. Well, I already gave you my prep. But anyway, don't take it from me. Take it from Santa. Take it from the guy up the North Pole. This is from him. This is not from me. He told me to tell you this. He said, pass this on to your listeners, Gatewood, that if they don't follow these guidelines, they're going to be getting a hunk of coal this year from old St. Nick instead of that flat screen TV they were looking for. First thing, if you have not advertised your business since the Obama administration, you are asking for a lump of coal. Folks, you have to advertise all the time. You have to constantly. When I say advertise, sometimes that advertising can take the countenance of a Facebook post. It could be going to a networking event. It doesn't have to be direct action advertising. It could be some type of nurturing. It could be indirect advertising, communication. But you have to advertise, ladies and gentlemen. That is an absolute. Now, if you handing out business cards that have that old phone number, you have to scratch it out and write in a new number. Santa doesn't like that. You're asking for a lump of coal. Don't do that. Get you some cards. Get you some real cards. So you don't be scratching out, putting the old number. That does not look. That's not a good look. Santa doesn't like it. Also, if you got that logo that has like your third grader created it, I know. You got the kid that can really she's a whiz on the computer. And you look, go ahead, little Susie, create me a logo real fast. Now, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Now, some of these kids are really good, but run it through a professional. Make sure it meets the logo guidelines before you start going out here trying to trademark and brand your business. Sometimes you're using clip art that can't be trademarked. Sometimes you're infringing on people's trademark. Don't want to do that. Sound doesn't like it. Gonna get yourself a lump of coal. Let's talk about social media for a minute. You know Santa Claus is on Facebook, right? Well, he's there. Now, if you have not checked your LinkedIn messages, since 2012. You got all of these potential contacts, clients, stakeholders, relationships, possible sales sitting in your inbox. Now it tells you right up there at the top of the screen, that little red bulb that comes on and says, look, there's a message in here. Go ahead and read those messages and respond. If you set up a LinkedIn account, there are people on LinkedIn that's their primary way of communicating. So they've been trying to reach you. They've been trying to get you that contract, make that connection, introduce you to that $1 million person, and you haven't even responded. Santa doesn't like that. That's going to get you a lump of coal. Also, folks, this is one of my favorites, and Santa agreed. Get out of these group texts. I'm telling you, I think those things from evil. They're from down below. You get in these group texts, and then the next thing you know, you're sending out that group text on a personal text, and next thing you know, you're sending out information to people that you really don't want to get. Group text, you want to be careful with those. You might not get rid of them. Santa's not that crazy about them. Plus, Santa really hates this. Don't be sending out these videos that say you're going to go to hell if you don't share it with 15 people. They're saying they got some little quote they got off the internet. They say, hey, I want to share this with you. If you don't send it to 10 people, you're going to burn in hell. Santa hates that. I hate it too. Now, here's a social media thing that might fall in the category of naughty and possible nice. You might not want to put your swimsuit photo on your LinkedIn account. I know. You got that job with that high-tech company. They are really casual. They out there playing golf in the break room. They out there throwing darts in there. Yeah, that's cool, but you're trying to remember your stakeholders are not necessarily just your customers, potential lenders, partners, joint venturers, suppliers, vendors, and so forth. So that suite, you might look really, really nice in that sweet suit and that swimsuit, but Santa says you want to hold off on that. Maybe not put it on your social media account. Naughty, somewhat nice, depends. All right, that's what Santa says here. Your web address. Get rid of that long web address. If it's so long, it has to wrap all the way around the business card. Santa wants you to get something a little shorter. You can get another. Some of you didn't know this. You can get another domain just for your email address. If your domain is so long, it takes 2 business cards to print it. You can get yourself a shorter version. It might be a .net, could be a something else, but you don't have to have that very, very long web address. Santa doesn't like it. He's trying to send you an email. Santa's little fingers get a little chubby. He said, hey, give me a shorter address. And if your website is not accepting payments, what in the world? How you plan to get paid? How's Santa Claus going to reward you if you can't accept payment? Get yourself a Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Square, Block, whatever you want to call it. You got to let people pay. You got to make it easy for people to pay you. Santa doesn't like it if it's too hard to get paid. Let's see. I know you like that AOL account. Santa doesn't give. Nope. Santa says if you are a business owner, get you a domain, get you a web address. An email address that has your domain in it. It's good for branding, and Santa just loves it. And if you don't have an SSL certificate on your web address on your website right now, Google doesn't like it, and Google and Santa talks a lot. So if you want to be friends with Santa and Google, you better put that SSL certificate. It stands for Secure Socket Layer, and it put that little lock beside your domain name. So when people come to your website, your data's not being stolen. On your service side, your voicemail been full since the first Bush was in the White House. Look, I know we get busy, but some people are trying to leave you a message. Go ahead and every now and then go ahead and clean that email out. The voicemail out, so people can leave you a message, particularly if you're not answering the phone. Go ahead and clean out the voicemail. And if you're going to be sending somebody a voicemail, give them a hint as to why you're calling. Don't just say, hey, call Fred. Because there's a big difference as Fred calling me to tell me about the score last week, or if Fred calling me and say, come pick up a check. Santa doesn't like that. So Santa says, hey, leave at least a hint as to why you're calling. Now, on the accounting side, if you haven't filed your taxes in the last 5 years, Santa said, look, let me tell you, Santa and the IRS are talking right now. So IRS they don't have like 5 million new agents out there, and they have Santa on speed dial. If you want to get yourself a hunk of coal this year, don't let those taxes get backed up. Call you a good account, get your accountant, get your bookkeeper, get on those taxes. Those things can add up. If you're trying to get things like loans, some of these EDILs, some of that stuff that may coming back up. A lot of people couldn't get money this past year because their taxes weren't filed. And in general, this is one of Santa's pet peeves. You one of those folks that's always complaining about Y'all don't buy from people in the community. Y'all don't support the community. But everything you own is from Pakistan, India, Korea, the skinheads, and everybody else. You got to reciprocate. If you want folks to buy from you, you have to buy in the community. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. If you want people in the community to support you, you have to support the people in the community. That's not so hard, okay? But in general, if you want to avoid getting a lump of coal from old St. Nick this year, you got to take better care of your business. Me and Santa been talking. And Santa said, look, you got to, so he gave him this list. Now, don't beat up on me. If you got a problem with this, you take it up with the guy in the red suit. Folks, this is the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a few items that's in the news. Man, that Omicron, that virus, it's out there. It's fighting. It has not abated. We're going to talk about that and some of the other things that are going on. And good morning, Brother Thomas, one of the greatest attorneys in the land. Brother Bradley Thomas is a great young man. Glad to have him on the show today. And Brother Gatewood, Brother Julius Gatewood out of North Carolina. Thank you for joining Brother Julius. That's my big bro. He's the OG of the Gatewood family, one of the OGs. Thank you for joining us this morning. Good morning, Tony. And good morning, everybody else who's tuning in on the Marketing Pulpit. If I don't get your name, I know you're out there because I see the numbers. This is the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about some items that are in the news. And you don't want to miss this. Marketing Pulpit, we'll be right back. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more, they should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop at some point, but as long as folks back in the food, got to talk about it. Thank you. Welcome back to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday, 10:30 a.m., bringing you the good of marketing gospel. We're not saving souls. We're saving businesses. We're saving jobs. We're saving our community. I might save a soul every now and then, particularly this time of year, because, man, some of us need it. We need it. Oh, boy. And I want to thank a few people this morning. My good friend, Joe Madison, I tell you, I have nothing but love for that young man. He's out there right now starving for votes. He's been on a hunger strike now, going on 40 days. And he has decided he's going to starve himself. He's willing to sacrifice his life to make sure our voting rights are guaranteed. And they were this past week. They had a press release down here. A group of young people, and we always beating up on the young folks that they're not involved. They don't do this. They don't do that. Well, anyway, there was a group of young people. They had a press release, and Joe Madison joined in. Miss Shauna Gallagher from Unpack.org. Miss Jocelyn Garcia from Unpack. Wanda Mosley from Black Voters Matter. We had Danielle from the EmpireInvisible.org. Naveed Shah from Common Defense, and a group of other people. They are really putting it on the line. Many of them have also decided to join into the hunger strike, because what's happening right now, we have this 50-50 tie in the Senate, and you need at least 60% to pass a bill due to the filibuster. And so now the Freedom to Vote Act has stalled because of this filibuster. And so Brother Madison has decided he's going to starve himself until we can get this filibuster broken until we can get enough senators to pass this act. So I want to thank them for what they're doing. And I'm telling you, folks, you can't get more committed than that. So you can follow what's happening with Joe Madison and the hunger strike and this Freedom to Vote Act by going to joemadison.com and do everything you can do to support. You can call your senators, make sure your senators understand what's on the line here. And we do need to take this seriously. And we're glad to have people like Brother Madison and the other people that are out here putting themselves on the line to get these bills passed. Right on. Wait a. I mean, talking about man, they won't be getting a lump of coal from Santa because they are doing the right thing. They're doing it at the right time, and they're doing it right. Let's talk about some of the things that are happening in the news. And later in the show, ladies and gentlemen, as a matter of fact, in the next segment, we're going to have a group of people we're going to talk about this Omicron virus. We're going to talk about COVID. We're going to talk about vaccinations. We're going to talk about how to protect ourselves as we go into this holiday season, because, man, this thing is far from over. Matter of fact, it's warming up. But before we get to that, let's talk about some things that are happening in the news. Now, I like this kind of story. Hobby Lobby would not be getting a hunk of coal from Santa this year. They just raised their minimum wage to $18.50 an hour. Woo, woo, woo. That's what we need, folks, going into 2022. Come on, Amazon. That throws down the gauntlet for people like Amazon. These guys have more money than they know what to do with. I mean, he's going up in the Ace chips and stuff. I mean, raise that minimum wage to should be $20 an hour. How much money can you save? So good job. They're an arts and craft chain, and they said they've never paid the minimum wage. They've been paying $15 an hour for years. So, right on. And I'm in that camp too. I've never paid the minimum wage. I've always paid more. And so I've been in that group with Hobby Lobby. My folks, we've been paying $18 an hour since who knows when. And we're going to continue to follow that trend to make sure, and I'm not a billionaire like Gates and Bezos and all these guys. I'm a business owner. I'm a small business owner. But I understand that if you want people to value the job, appreciate the job, and get the best work out of them, you got to pay people fatter. Plus, just the right thing to do. Talking about somebody who's going to get a lump of coal, this guy from better.com, the one that fired 900 people over a Zoom call. Now, that was cold. I must say, that was pretty cold. He went on this Zoom call, came on and said, look, if you're on this call, you fresh out of luck. I want to get into my Bernie Mac, but I don't want to get censored. You fresh out of luck this morning because you're out of here. I mean, fired the people on the spot. Well, as luck would have it, now he's out of there. So this Grinch did not steal Christmas. Well, he did still steal Christmas. He got the lump of coal from Santa, but he also got canned in the process. So he's been taking a leave of absence because he got such a backlash for firing 900 people over a Zoom call. That's not right. That is not right. And thank you, Brother Bradley, for chiming in on that right to vote. It's the food for democracy is like food for our bodies. So kudos to Brother Madison. Thank you for chiming in on that, Brother Thomas. Facebook is changing its name to Meta, and they paid some company, Brother Bradley, Brother Thomas, you'd appreciate this. They paid $60 million for the trademark rights to the name Meta. Man, why didn't I register that name? Oh my goodness. $60 million. So they're paying the price. They're going all in. So they're going to be changing their name soon. $60 million to acquire exclusive rights to the Meta name. In that same vein, H&R Block is suing Square. Well, Jack Dorsey, the guy that owns Square, they're changing their name to Block. And I must admit, I may have to kind of agree with H&R Block on this one. It's going to change their name to Block. If you hear the name Block, don't you kind of think of H&R Block though, really? Well, they're saying, look, Block, you can't do it. Square, keep your name. You cannot be jumping on our bandwagon. And so they're suing to prevent Square from changing their name to Block. Now, this is in line with what we're going to be talking about later on, but 800,000 people have died from COVID in the United States. That is a tragic milestone. Now, I hate to say it, but some of that was probably preventable. We know it was preventable. They said the number was in the hundreds of thousands of people that could have been saved had we taken preventative measures sooner. That's a tragedy. That just That irks me. I'm just going to tell you, folks. That irks me. But companies are still, people are fighting back. New York City is going to fine anybody that doesn't comply with its mandate. Cornell University has moved on exams back online. And so Apple will again require masks in its stores, and it will limit crowds. So they're trying to fight back. Now, Kroger has gone a step further. They said their unvaccinated employees will lose some of their benefits. They're hitting you in the pocket. They said, look, you come in and get COVID if you want to, but we're not going to be paying your benefits and for you to go out and get COVID. So they're cutting back benefits starting next year as it pushes ahead to try to get ahead of this Omicron virus. And Google has even jumped into the fray. They said they've told their employees that you will eventually get fired if you don't follow the vaccine rules. Man, let me tell you, folks, this thing is, now the companies are, I'm gonna tell you now, the companies, to them, it's about the money. I mean, I appreciate what they're doing, but you have to understand, these companies are about the money. They got to protect their investments. Their investments are not protected if their workforce is sick, if their employees are making their customers sick. So to them, they have a vested interest in this. And that's why you're seeing companies like Kroger and Google and some of these other big companies, they're fighting back. And they're trying to get employees to get vaccinated because they know that if they don't get vaccinated, that's going to be some problems. It's going to affect their bottom line in a negative way. Now, there's always somebody to mess it up for everybody else. And this just keeps coming up. A group of Texas men have been charged with a massive COVID relief fund fraud to the tune of $35 million. That is so wrong. Santa does not like that. You're talking about somebody that's going to get a hunk of coal. $35 million. Whew. 4 men. What's happening? They're jumping on this payroll protection money, the PPP money. It was a great idea, man, but a lot of folks have really jumped on it, and they have really blown it for a lot of other people. And so even an NFL player, he's going, now these guys, of course, they're going to prison. You can't get away with this, ladies and gentlemen. I mean to tell you, I've had my accountant Falashade and co-host on here several times telling you, you can't get in here and grab that PPP money and think you're going to get away. Matter of fact, she went as far as to say, if you got that money and you weren't entitled to it, and now you kind of looking over your shoulder, she said just better just give it back. So you can start sleeping at night again. Well, this NFL player, he got, how much he got? He got about, I think he got like $3 million, 1.2 million. This guy used to play, his name was Joshua Bellamy. He was a former player, and now he's facing all kind of problems because he got this money that he wasn't supposed to get. Don't do it. I've done shows on this too, ladies and gentlemen. I've said if you're doing something that you're not sure about, seems a little bit shady, you're worried about if it's the right thing to do, don't do it. You're not going to beat this technology. I'm telling you. Even the technology folk can't beat the technology. This stuff leaves paper trails. It leaves cookie crumbs, just like the crumb that the little kids with Hansel and Gretel, when that witch ate them up. They came to her house, and you can't beat this technology, ladies and gentlemen. So stop trying to beat it. And you PPP folks, they're going to get you. You're not going to beat them. You're not going to beat them. Now, what is happening in an NFL? Dozens of players have been deactivated due to positive COVID-19 tests. 7 from the New York Giants, 8 Minnesota Vikings, 9 Detroit Lions, 16 LA Rams, including Odell Beckham, are on the deactivation list because of the virus. Cleveland Browns, 19. That's Odell's old team. What's that relationship there? He left the Browns, went to the, well, anyway, did he infect everybody? I don't know. Look. And the winner goes to, can you believe this? My hometown team of the Washington football team They have, oh my God, 21 cases of COVID among the players who have been deactivated. That means they can't play. How are they going to have a game this week if they got 21 players on the deactivation list, including the backup quarterback, Kyle Allen? And maybe karma still following them. Just because you change your name after all these years of being called a racial slur, you just can't change your name and karma just drop off you right away. So they probably still, that curse has a little bit of a lag time. You just can't be made whole overnight just because you change your name. 21 cases. This Omicron and this virus is not gone by a long shot. Matter of fact, they're saying right now it seems to be doubling every 2 days. Wow. That's pretty deep. So the Omicron is here to stay, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully it's not here to stay, but if you don't take some of these precautions, and that's why we bring in a special panel today. They're going to help us. I can't do it by myself. Y'all probably tired of hearing me talk anyway. I get up here and start talking, sound like my dad on the pulpit. Hey, man, get out of the way. We have some other folks talk. So we're going to bring in some people who are smarter than me on this topic. And before we go to our break, we're going to take a break in a second. We're going to bring up our esteemed panel, Leon Gatewood from Holla, Miss Cynthia Wallace, and Miss Angela Caraway. These are smart folks. Smart. Let me go out here. Let me tell you something else. I've been telling you about this social media too. These Capitol rioters, these folks that stormed the Capitol about a year ago, thought they were being smart. They just got their little cameras up there doing like this. Hey, look at that, guys. I'm on social media. I'm in the Capitol building. Well, the judge said, look, the reason I can't forgive you because you made it too easy for me to convict you. You put it all over social media. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make it up. All right, that's what we're going to do, folks, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. Let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to bring in our special guest. We're going to talk about this virus, this Omicron, and we're not taking this land down. We're not taking this land down. Some people are actually doing something about it. I think with Joe Madison, this is one of his main quotes. What are you going to do about it? You can sit here and talk about it, but what are you doing about it? Talking is not doing something. You're just talking. What are you doing? That's why we got some folks coming up here in a minute, folks. They're going to show us what they're doing and give us some advice on how to get out of this virus. And let's see. Oh no! Oh my God! All right, make that 22 for the Washington football team the starting quarterback. Now he's on the list. He should have listened to the marketing pulpit today. We should have had a time talk, and maybe he could have gotten some of this good advice on the marketing pulpit on how to avoid getting. Can you believe that 22 people now are on the Washington football team deactivation list due to COVID-19? That's why we're having this show today, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. This is the marketing pulpit, and good morning, Linda. Hometown Livingstone alumni up in the house. Good morning to you and your family, and thank you for tuning in this morning. Folks, this is, and good morning, Brenda, Bradley, Gerald, and everybody else who's tuning in. Let's take a quick break. This is the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I want to thank my special sponsor, BLE Executive Suites, with their 3 locations in the Washington, D.C. area, but they can serve you from all over the country if you need virtual services, phone boxes, mailbox services, and all that good stuff. Call them at 301-322-1700 or go to BLE Suites. This is the Marketing Pulpit. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in a moment. Your first introduction to your network is actually your family and friends. Mom, dad, stepmom, grandpa, grandma, they are actually your first network. Now let's take this a little deeper here. So if our network determines our net worth, what if we're born into a network that's not really working in our favor? I think Maya Angelou said it better. When you know better, you do better. We can't determine who we're going to be born with. We don't choose our family. And in some cases, we're not even choosing our friends because we're cast into these organizations like schools and churches, sometimes before we even have a say in the matter. But as we get older and wiser, sometimes, I think Malcolm said it, sometimes you have to separate. You may have to go find yourself another network to hang with. All right, welcome back to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses. We're on a mission, ladies and gentlemen. My raison d'etre, my reason for being, my purpose is to build successful businesses. Everybody's got to do something to improve our lot in life in our community. Our community needs you. We sitting on the sideline just waiting on things to happen. You have to make them happen. And these folks that I'm about to bring up here, that's what they're made of. These are good people, hardworking folks. They didn't have to do this. They could be out here chopping for Santa Claus like everybody else. But they decided this morning some things are more important than putting another unneeded gift under the tree. But if I'm on your list, though, it's not unneeded. Wait. All right, folks, let me bring up my guest here. Let me bring to the stage. First of all, let me introduce Mr. Leon Gatewood. Leon Gatewood, welcome to the show.
Hey, Robert Gatewood, how you doing, brother?
Man, you're looking mighty cool over there.
I was about, yeah, man, these new glasses, they turned dark on me. Look, I can't see without them, bro. I'm sorry. Look, I was just about to buy you a gift, man. Thanks for that pass, man.
As I was saying,
too late.
If the gift has already been ordered, you don't have to send it back. And plus, all right, man, I blew it.
You blew it, bro.
Thanks for the thought anyway. Leon, I want to thank you again, man, for convening this panel today. You're a guy that's out there just making stuff happen, man. I'm telling you. Where do you get the energy from, brother? Where do you get the energy? Where do you go? Help a brother. How can I get some of that energy you have?
I was about to ask you the same thing, but I will say this. You get it from loving what you do, you know. You get it from you're on the marketing pulpit. You get it from being born again, you know. So I always tell people, they say, how can I do what you guys do down there? I said, you got to be born again.
Hallelujah.
I don't mean shouting and going on. You just got to be born again in here somewhere, you know, and decide that's what you're going to do.
Well, man, I love it. I love what you're doing down there with the Holla organization. I love what you did with you did the Candidates Forum not too long ago. You've been involved with the Black Voters Matters, and I mean, you're doing some great things. And I'm really glad now that I've been preaching about this virus. Matter of fact, in the news today, we talked about several cases that, like I say, the football team. Are we going to have a game this Sunday? These teams, COVID is running rampant right now through these football teams. 22 players from the Washington football team now have been deactivated because they have the virus. So your timing, man, you're talking about doing the right thing at the right time and doing it right. What else can I say?
I think people need to take it seriously. We'll get more into that in a minute, but people need to really take it seriously.
Let's see who you brought with you today, man. I see a Miss Cynthia Wallace. Let me bring her up here.
All right, that's Cynthia.
Hey, that's Cynthia.
That's power in the room, brother.
Power in the room, and we have Miss Angela Caraway.
Oh man, more power in the room, man.
Oh man, good gracious, man! I just feel the power. Power in your walk.
Good morning.
We'll crack out a guitar and start singing on you in a minute. Matter of fact, let's introduce our panel here. Leon, why don't you first of all just remind people who you are, and we'll go around the room here. Let everybody give themselves a quick minute, a second, seconds to introduce themselves.
First and foremost, today I'm this guy, Robert Gatewood's little brother.
Hello, bro.
He's been my one of the people that led me through the path, you know. So I'd like to thank you publicly for that, Robert.
Thank you, bro.
And anyway, since then I've become started this organization in Anson County called HOLLA. It's an acronym for Helping Our Loved Ones Learn and Achieve. And our mission in the beginning was to raise test scores, and it still is. But we realized right away that, you know, what our thinking about that was the mentoring and tutoring. We realized right away that was not quite enough. So we decided to become a resource center, bringing resources into the community, working with people like some of these guys on this panel to pour resources in the community, because we realized that was one of the big issues. Small towns like Anson County get looked over because we don't have big time millionaires in the community, big time millionaires in the community that care a lot sometimes, but they don't care a lot sometimes. So we have to find ways to pour resources into these small communities to make sure we don't get left out and make sure our kids get the same opportunities that people that are born in privileged communities.
Man, and you are doing an excellent job. And you all even have an event coming up. You can talk about that later on. Let's go to our next guest, Miss Cynthia Wallace from the New Rural Project. Good morning, Miss Wallace.
Good morning, Mr. Gatewood.
Tell us about yourself.
I sure will. And as I was listening to your show before I came on, I literally, if I closed my eyes, I thought I was hearing Leon a little bit. So
that's my little bro.
Thank you so much. And thank you to Leon for all of your hard work at the Holla Center and what you've been doing for years and making such a big impact. And so once again, I'm Cynthia Wallace. I am the co-founder and executive director of the New Rural Project. We're about 9 months old, but we've known Leon for quite a bit of time. I was a candidate last year for Congress. Ran for North Carolina's 9th Congressional District, which included Anson County, where Leon is, along with many other rural counties. And after not being successful, I co-founded this organization with Helen Probst Mills, who is our co-founder and also was a candidate for North Carolina Senate 25. And so I had 8 counties and she had 4, and all 4 of hers were a part of the 9th Congressional District. And we both, while we were running and even before and afterwards, knew that rural folks needed a bigger voice. And as Leon was saying earlier, they're often overlooked. And we started this organization to engage young, mostly under 40 and marginalized, historically marginalized citizens to amplify their voices and to increase their civic and electoral engagement. Number 1, by listening to them, and number 2, by doing things in the community, along with partners like Holla and like WellCare and like Alpha Pi Chi, so these sororities, to really help citizens with their critical issues. Health equity is one of our first things we want to tackle, and equity in these vaccines is exactly one of the big issues of 2021. And obviously, as we can see, going into 2022 with what's happening with Omicron. So excited to be here. Look forward to talking more about our vaccine event, and community event is what I call it. I don't call it a vaccine event. I call it a community event that we're doing on Saturday with the Holla Center.
All right. Well, thank you and welcome to the show. We're just glad to have you. And Ms. Caraway, you look like a familiar face. I still remember when you brought that group of kids up to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
We took them around Radio 1. As a matter of fact, if you go to the website of Marketing Pulpit, that banner of those kids up there in that studio are still, I just can't take it down because it was so impactful.
Yes, that was great.
Please
that was
introduce yourself to our audience.
My name is Angela Caraway. I'm the executive director of the Caraway Foundation. And Robert, it is great to see you again and be on your show. And Cynthia, you're right. He and Leon sound just alike. So I did the same thing, and I was just like, wow, those genes are really strong. So, but it is great to be on here this morning. I do have a cold, so if I have to pause for a second to call for something, I'll definitely try to mute myself. But here I am, because this conversation is very important. And unfortunately, I've lost some loved ones to COVID. But this pandemic has definitely shown us just the inequalities around a lot of things, and especially there in rural areas. And so the Caraway Foundation started out being one of the organizations that wanted to help the youth and, make sure that people from Anson County got the same type of resources that any other county receives. But then when the pandemic hit, we switch our gears a little bit to make sure that we continue to do what we say we do, which is provide resources to the county. And this was one, to try to provide information, try to educate our citizens in Anson County to understand the importance of getting vaccinated, but also to understand that there are some inequalities happening and in the community, in the Black and Brown communities, and what they can do to remedy that. So I'm happy to be here this morning. And so I thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. And I see Mr. Garrett Stuggs. He's joining us. Mr. Stuggs, are you there? I see you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, how you doing there, brother?
Doing wonderful. How are you?
You kind of in the dark there, but we can hear you. So go ahead and introduce yourself quickly to the audience. Let people know. There you go. There you go. We got one of our business. This guy's from our business community. This man down here making things happen. He's not just your typical business owner. This man is that guy out there. He takes business responsibility to another level. So please introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. Garrett Snuggs, owner operator of Triad Barber School, Tight Cuts Barbershop, soon to be Bank Shots Bar and Grill. Pleasure to be with you. Yeah, COVID's real.
It's real, isn't it, bro?
Yes, sir.
Well, let's jump into the conversation here, Leon. You guys just chime in. What are some of the challenges right now? We've had 800,000 people to succumb to this deadly virus. Right now, we're seeing the numbers of infections doubling every couple of days. We're seeing numbers now. We're seeing spikes. Why is this problem not going away?
I'll jump in right quick.
Yes.
One of the big issues is people aren't taking it seriously. They're getting misinformation, thinking their heads on the vaccinations. And it's, especially in our communities, there's these situations that Black folk run into, obesity, high blood pressure, things of that nature, and of course our work, the places we have to work, working up on each other, in these factories and stuff like that. So you have issues like that, but the big thing to me, Robert, is people are not taking the vaccine seriously. We are not taking the vaccine seriously.
Ms. Wallace, now you're out there, your rural project. What are some of the challenges? What is it that people need to know about this virus? What are some of the remedies to get us out of these negative numbers and into a positive number going into 2022? What do you think?
So one of the reasons, as I mentioned, we started this organization was to amplify those voices. And I live in Charlotte, which is right next door to Union County, where we start with, we get into rural counties. And we recognized very early on that there were issues with access to the vaccine, and in particular in the rural counties. In Charlotte, we had a vaccination community event every other day in the early days of this. But when I talked to my friends like Leon or folks in Scotland County, et cetera, they weren't having this level of community events. And so we really knew that access was an issue. We know that there's misinformation, as Leon talked about. We know there's hesitancy for a variety of reasons, but access is also still an issue, and in particular in our rural communities. And so that's where we've tried to step in, is to provide these pop-up events along with other community partners to increase, or at least to remove one of the barriers, being access. What we do, misinformation though, I would probably say that's the number 2 issue. Not only are people getting, misinformation on platforms like Facebook, like what we're on, but also YouTube. I don't know that people talk a lot about the misinformation that people are getting even in that forum. But we're hoping by bringing in folks like NC Counts to bring information and education, that we're breaking down some of those barriers in the misinformation space.
Ms. Caraway, Angela. Now, I'm gonna throw a question to you.
And you can say Tina. You can say Tina.
Okay. Why do some people? How do we get people? I mean, is vaccination the answer? I know that seems like an obvious question to some, but there are still quite a few people that are hesitant to take the vaccine. They have sometimes, like I said, misinformation. Sometimes it's just some type of, they've never taken any vaccine, whether it was a flu vaccine or whatever vaccine. Why is the vaccine the answer, and why should people not be reluctant to take it?
That's a very good question. I must be honest, at first I was hesitant about the vaccine when it first came out too, because I have I'm a cancer survivor, but I'm still under in that window of not sure if, if the cancer is going to come back, and, kind of all those things around underlining issues. But I personally, I thought about not only myself, but because of my family and their issues, I wanted to have as much protection as I could get, to protect my body, to protect my health, to stay on earth for a little while longer, but also to protect my family. I think that they feel like it's mandated, so therefore their rights are being taken away from them, that someone else is making a decision for them, that that they can't decide on what they can do for themselves and for their families. But the vaccination is one of the things that can help us in this pandemic. It is one of the protect but to protect others. And I think that people are caught up in all the misinformation, and therefore they have decided that they don't want to get that, and they have decided that the correct information that comes out is false, and that they have decided that the incorrect information is the truth. And I don't know if it's, even if you put it in front of them, and I don't even know if God came down and told them that this is the truth, that they will still do it. It is something I have never seen before, and obviously it's something that we all have never been. I think on this call, have never been been involved in, to figure out how people are thinking, um, and what it's going to take to convince them that they need to get vaccinated. It's hard. I don't have the right answer. I don't have the answer at all, because it seems like things change all the time. Even whenever I talk to my youth, they like, well, how is it that they come up with this vaccine, but they can't come up with a cure for cancer? But they came up with the vaccine so fast. How this, how that, and they're like, I don't want to take that. What if that does something to my body and cause me not to be able to have kids? They don't have a lot of information about what the Pfizer vaccine is going to do, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is going to do to my body. So it's hard. It's all over the place. I don't know if there is a right answer to your question.
And you're experiencing and expressing what many of us have felt. I'm not a doctor. I can't go out here and give somebody medical advice on what to do with their bodies. But the only thing we can do is if we put my approach has been, take myself and my own personal well-being out of the equation for a moment. And what if I'm a carrier and I'm going to make somebody else sick? I can't live with that. I'm going to have a hard time living with that if I felt like I didn't do everything that I possibly could have done to prevent spreading this to somebody else. That's my approach. I don't know if the vaccine is going to kill me 5 years from now, but I know one thing: it could kill me tomorrow if I get that disease, and I could spread it to somebody else. So we don't have the luxury of looking 5, 15, 20 years down the road when we have a deadly pandemic that has killed 800,000 people today. That's the way I've been able to justify it. And I don't consider myself a know-it-all, a sage, or a medical authority, but we have to do what we have to do. We have to do what we have to live with. We have to live with our decisions, and we just have to make sure that we're not just focusing solely on ourselves. I'm going to ask Mr. Snuggs here for a minute. Now, he's been out here doing things in the community, hosting. He has his barbershop. What are some of the things? This is how a business can actually be proactive. Mr. Snuggs, tell us some of the things you've been doing out here in the event of this, since this virus been with us.
That's what natural remedy saying. But like I told my mom, I just want to do a little more research. I ain't saying I never, as you know.
Leon, let's get Mr. Suggs like I lost his connection for a minute there.
Mr. Gatewood, if I could interject, I wanted to reiterate what you said, as well as Ms. Caraway, that
Please.
The reason to get this vaccine for me and many others was for not only for me but for my family. I want to protect my mother. She's in her late 70s, and the thing I say to folks, and I am with Ms. Caraway, it's of young people I'm still trying to talk to explain and try to encourage that they need to be protected, not only for themselves but for others. But one of the things I say to folks is, how many people do you actually know who've actually been gotten COVID and been sick or died? And how many people do you actually know, not what you're reading on the internet, that have gotten sick from having the vaccine?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who do you actually know other than reading anecdotes online about people getting injured or sick from the vaccine versus the people you actually know who died and got very ill from COVID? So that's one of the things I tried to, ask, at least to kind of get them to think a little bit more about the things that are in front of them versus the things that they put a little more credit to that are online with strangers.
Hey, Robert. I was talking to a young guy the other day, and he asked me, I asked him if he wanted to take the vaccine. He said, no, I don't know what's in that vaccine. And this joker was sitting there drinking a Mountain Dew. And I'm like, what you got in that Mountain Dew, bro? I mean, I'm just saying. And I understand people having some kind of apprehension about it. But I think once you look at it, like you said, Ms. Wallace, once you look at it, how many people do you know have actually had an issue with it? And compared to how many people do you actually know, have you actually read in the paper, in your local papers, that have died from it? Or in the local obits that died from COVID. And the numbers are going up, Robert, remarkably. And with this new variant, the Omicron variant, I heard you talking about it earlier, it's really it's really moving fast, and it's going to kill a lot of people. I hate to quote Joe Biden on this, but he said, looks like for the unvaccinated, it's going to be a cold, deadly winter.
Leon, and that is why I wanted to bring this topic up today. We are actually about to head into the holiday season. People are going to be gathering. Mm-hmm. People are going to be hugging. They're going to be sharing glasses and bottles and breathing on each other. And we know, no matter how much we say the contrary, once you get in that house and the game is on and the food is cooking and the beers are flying, those masks come off. Now, wouldn't you feel better knowing, given that reality, that you had taken some type of precaution to reduce the likelihood that this might happen? Now, you guys are doing something, each of you are doing something right now in the community to help fight this surge, this scourge that's on us right now. So, Leon, you can tell us about, you have an event coming up, Cynthia and Angela. You can tell us what's going on and what we are doing right now within your respective communities and organizations to help combat this disease.
Well, this coming Saturday, we're hosting a vaccination event that's being produced by, put on by the New Rural Project. One of the reasons the reason I'm excited about the Holla Center is because we can actually host these types of events. And the community is becoming more and more aware of the Holla Center and the things we're actually trying to do. So it's really making an impact. So I'll yield to Cynthia to give you the details of the upcoming event that we're hosting on Saturday.
All right. Thank you so much, Leon. And his facility, his building in the heart of downtown Morven has, been a joy and a jewel to Anson County and this whole area. So as he mentioned, we are hosting a vaccine event on this coming Saturday, December 18th. It is what we're calling our second dose vaccine event. We hosted our first dose event in mid-November, right before Thanksgiving, at the Holla Center, and we vaccinated almost 90 people. in the space of 3 to 4 hours. And it was a lot of boosters, but first and second shot. So it was extremely successful. We know that trusted location of the Holla Center was a critical part of it, but also having other medical partners like WellCare, having Alpha Pi Chi, Las Amigas, connections with Atrium, reaching out to the community, the Anson Express, putting it into every home, advertising the event, that local media being a part of this is how we were so successful. And so on tomorrow, we're doing our second dose of follow-up from 10 to 1 of that event in November. And also Rogers Heart, I can't not mention Rogers Heart, which is Rachel Melton's organization that gave out Thanksgiving plates. In addition to haircuts from Triad Barber School, I know Garrett's going in and out, but he gave free haircuts. So we had a lot of activity for this community event in November, and we're doing the same thing coming back in on tomorrow. So 10 to 1, we're having our vaccination for 12 and older, along with free haircuts and information on registering to vote, etc., at the Holla Center. And then from 2 to 4, we're doing the first community vaccination event in Anson for ages 5 to 11. So we are excited that young people, these kids will be able to be vaccinated before they see grandma on Christmas. So we want people to come out. That's from 2 to 4 at the Holla Center. We'll have some activities. Leon's going to have some hot chocolate for the kids. There's a Santa in the park across the street. And so we're really excited that we're going to be able to bring this life-saving vaccination by Atrium to hopefully help cut down on some things that might happen over the next couple of holidays with Christmas and New Year's coming and people hugging on grandma and granddaddy.
That's wonderful. Let's get Mr. Snuggs back in there. Mr. Snuggs, what you doing over there, brother? I always have this mad love for people in the business community. Tell us what you're doing over there.
You said that was for me?
Yes, sir, that's you. You're on. Tell us what you're doing over there. You're a man out there shaking things up and taking a proactive approach to this virus. Tell us what you're doing.
Okay, so we like to try to provide a little incentive for the people to get vaccinated. First of all, back in 2020, when COVID first hit, it was very, very destructive to me. The governor shut down all the businesses and, the hardship on people, like myself, an entrepreneur. So I recognized the need, to keep the country open. So that was one of my main focuses on getting the vaccination and encouraging other people to get the vaccination so that we can continue to keep the country open, be able to do some socializing and some touching and agreeing. It was miserable being home all those times. So we want to just try to provide an incentive for people to, help themselves, and help each other. We all in this thing together. You know what I mean? So that's my perspective on it. Anything I can do to try to, make things better, that's what I'm committed to doing.
And Leon and Ms. Wallace has both chimed in that you've been a resource for people who are trying to do the right thing. And you've been a role model on how people can not just talk about it, but be about doing something about it. So hats off to you and what you're doing over there, Brother Snug.
Yes, sir. We thank you. Yes, sir.
And Ms. Caraway.
Yes.
We're going to give you a word on this. Any topic, anywhere you're going to jump in on this topic, just go ahead and fill us in.
Well, also one of the things that's important during this time, not only the vaccination, but also, taking care of yourself, eating well. And so one of the things that we've been doing since the pandemic is providing produce boxes to the community. And we started that in August of 2020, and we were partners with the USDA, and we did that through May of this year. And then we were fortunate enough to get another grant, and we were able to continue to provide produce boxes to the community. And unfortunately that would end actually on Wednesday. And so we're trying to find funding to continue to provide fresh produce to the community for the rest of 2022. If you know of any grants that I can submit an application to, or if there's anyone that would like to donate to the Caraway Foundation to help us with that, that would be wonderful. But not only are we're going out through our grant with NC Counts to the community to provide information around the vaccination and just educational information to them. And we were scheduled to have an event last Saturday, but had to cancel that. But we are doing our parts too, in trying to make sure that people know about vaccination events, where they can get the boosters in the community, and then also try to provide them with fresh produce.
All right, and we run out of time here, but ladies and gentlemen, I did want to say this, that we got a comment from somebody was saying, don't forget that get your rest and exercise, because the vaccination is not a panacea. If you're still overweight, if you live in this sedentary lifestyle, if you're still not getting your checkups, you're not drinking water, you're not walking, you're not exercising, no vaccine in the world is going to save you. So don't let the vaccine be a cover for you're not taking care of yourself. You still have to take care of yourself. And even if you do get the vaccine, you're going to be better off, and it's going to be more effective if you are taking care of yourself and you take care of some of these pre-existing conditions. Because in the early part of the pandemic, folks, the pre-existing conditions were the ones that were hit the hardest, and that's going to continue to be this case. So do take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Do what you can. And if you're not getting vaccinated for whatever reason, my goodness, you got to wear your mask. You got to limit your exposure to people. You don't want to pass this on to somebody else. If you're in a high-profile position where you want to be interacting with millions and hundreds and thousands of people, you need to take some type of precaution. So don't take this emphasis off yourself for a minute. And that's like I say, I am not the vaccination police. I will tell you that. My role as a broadcaster is to provide good information. Yes, I got vaccinated. Yes, I've taken the booster. Am I the know-it-all? But I hope that everybody, whatever you do, take the precaution to protect yourself and those that you love. If you have something better than the vaccine, I want to hear about it. I haven't heard it. It's not ivermectin. It's not whatever this stuff people are taking. You give me a better solution, then I'm willing to put you on this panel to talk about it. But right now, the vaccine is about the best thing we have going. Any closing words, Leon and panel?
I just wanted to give a big shout out to NC Counts, the Healthier Together Coalition, for the funding they're sending into the community. Black Voters Matter, the Rural Center, the New Rural Group, you guys like that are the New Rural Project, organizations like that are pumping resources into this community to make this thing happen. These and other things happen. Melissa Funderburk, I hope you're listening. Thank you for what you're doing. Just appreciate these guys that are helping us do this, man.
Ms. Wallace, I know you got to run.
Yes. So I want everyone to come out tomorrow. We'll be there from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Hollis Center, spreading out information. In addition to vaccine, you can get a lot of other things. And I love what Ms. Caraway is doing. And also just the last, two things I want to shout out some of the other partners as well. You Can Vote will be with us. Equality NC, the Anson Partnership for Children are also going to be with us. So we're excited. And the New Rural Project, we're very new, but we have already done this kind of work in Union County as well as Robinson County. So we're stretching our efforts from Union County to Anson to Richmond, Scotland, Hoke, Robinson County, and more. So Moore County, that is. So we look forward to being in partnership with other organizations like Leon and really trying to amplify the voices and bring whatever efforts we can to these very important rural places that unfortunately get overlooked for no good reason. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And look forward to seeing you, Leon, tomorrow. And Ms. Caraway, hopefully you can stop by. And Ms. Snuggs, we'll be looking forward to those great haircuts tomorrow.
And thank you for everything you do, Ms. Wallace. Thank you again for joining us on the Marketing Pulpit. Mr. Snuggs, any final words? Any parting words?
Just looking forward to participating in the event. Like Leon said, thankful for these fine people who are, doing all they can do to try to protect and promote the community that we so love.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And thank you for what you're doing. I'm telling you, boy, I tell you, I love my business owners. Every time I see a business owner out there it's about something besides just chasing a dollar, man, they're going to win it for me every time. Thank you again, brother. Thank you again. Miss Caraway, any final words?
Yeah, just keep, for you, Robert, just keep doing this type of platform. And thanks again for having us on here. And I would just say, to those that are listening, think about others, think about yourself. It's hard out here. As they say, it's hard out here for a pimp, but it's hard out here. But, I love being above ground. So, if I got to get the vaccination over again, if I got to get it again and again and again, I would do it. And I hope that people will think about their families and do the right thing.
And thank you for everything you do and continue working with young people and making a difference out here in our community. You are really the embodiment of service. And I really appreciate everything you do. Continue to do what you're doing. Leon, man, I'm telling you, boy, you have once again, you put together a nice panel for the show. Thank you for being involved in the marketing pulpit. As far as the show that you're running, the Brothers for Real show, what you're doing with the Holla organization, and continue to put together these great panel of people like the Black Voters Matter Forum, like the Anson County Candidates Forum, like the Poets Forum, and really appreciate everything you do. And look forward to many things working with you in the future in 2022. Any final words?
I just want to say, Robert, working together is what makes these things happen efficiently and effectively. We have about probably 10 organizations going to be here tomorrow. There'll be at least 10. One I meant to mention is, I can't think of the name of it, but the services that they're providing is important enough to bring up. They provide services for people who have been affected by COVID. You've been laid off your job, been put in quarantine 10 days without pay, things of that nature. This organization will be here on Saturday, and they'll be providing information on how you can get recovery from some of your losses on some of the things that have happened because of COVID. Because, folks, it is a problem. COVID is a problem, but we can fix it. We can work with it. Working together, we can address it and attack it effectively.
And once again, this purpose of this show is not to sit here and try to ram the vaccine down your throat, even though I believe it's a very effective tool. But also, there are resources out here. There are people that are doing things right now to fight this disease, to fight this variant. You have to get the information. And once you get the information, you need to act on it. And let's stomp out some of this misinformation. There's a lot of people out here that have political agendas. They're not scientists. They're not doctors. They're pushing this agenda for their own purposes. And we have to drown them out with real good information and information that's going to positively affect our community. Our community has been disproportionately affected by this disease, by this virus. I've lost people. I've seen people die. I haven't seen one person die from the vaccine yet. I mean, maybe it happened somewhere, but we know 800,000 people have died as a result of this vaccine. Of this virus. And I think as a responsible member of the community, we have to present the voices. We have to present the evidence. We have to present solutions to help push back so that when we go into 2022, we can take our loved ones with us and not leave this disease behind. Leon, thanks again, brother. Love you. We'll see you. I'm gonna try to get down to visit the folks down that way, but man, this disease, this vaccine.
Robert, come on down. Bring your vaccine card with you.
All right, man. All right, brother. Thanks a lot, man. We'll be talking. All right, folks, that's going to wrap up the show. Thank you again for tuning in to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. Now, going into 2022, we will be bringing more forums, we're going to be tackling more topics because we don't operate in a vacuum. You can't have a successful business if all of your stakeholders are dying off because of some type of plague or pandemic. Okay, we have to collectively come together and talk about these issues, regardless of which side of the issue you're on. I didn't tell anybody who's not vaccinated not to join this panel. If you have something you want to say, but I'm telling you right now, we're not going to be peddling misinformation. We're not going to be peddling political agendas. What we're trying to do is protect our community at a critical juncture. We're going into a holiday season. Seems like half the darn football league has been infected. We got a holiday. And so these are kind of things that we have to talk about and deal with. Calling each other names and drawing lines in the sand. We're not going to cross, not listening to people who have legitimate concerns. I will listen to you. And I'm going to share the information I have. And you're willing to share your information with me. But we're not going to solve this by being divisive, unkind to each other, dismissive. We need to hear each other out. But when you do it, make sure you have the right information. Thanks again, everybody. And thank you again, Brother Brown. He said, get the vaccination, get the booster. I've gotten them both. And like I say, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm 100,000% sure it's the right thing. But I know it's the right thing as far as I'm concerned in my mind, because I'm doing it to protect those that I love and care about. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for the Marketing Pulpit TV show. Now, I'm still up in the air about whether or not we're going to do another live show between now and the end of the year. But we will be doing, the show will be here tomorrow, next Friday, whether it's a live or some of the greatest hits from 2021. But whatever you do, tune back in on next Friday for the next version of the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a great, very good conversation today. I think you guys have done a good job to my special guests for tuning in today. And we'll be back next week right here on the Marketing Pulpit TV show. And if you want to be successful, as I close out every show, if you want to be successful, you've got to do these three things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and what else we have to do? We have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work. And also, like I said, if we don't talk next week or the week before, do be safe out here. Have a happy holiday. Have a happy new year. I may or may not see you next week. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I'll be right back next week. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop in some period, but as long as folks bag the food, got to talk about it.